Hello everybody, my name is Boyce Fitzgerald and I do stock video. I'm consider myself a beginner, maybe climbing into the novice stage, the stage where you realize you still have so much more to learn. Today we're going to talk about sales for March 2022. I missed February because I was traveling and there was some stuff going on, so we'll delve into a little bit of February too, but I don't have the clips any longer on my earnings tab on the platform, so we're just going to mostly talk about the $483 I made in March. Okay, let's get started. You can see that 2022 has been a little bit odd. 409 in January and 483 in March. Nothing wrong with that, but look at this 215 in February. In fact, if I go back to 2021, there is no time where I made that much. My lowest month was May, and that was 261. And if I go back to 2020, we have to go all the way back to August of 2020, where I'm down in the low 200s. And I had a lot fewer clips then. So February was not a good month. But let's look at March. March is okay. March was $483. If I go to earnings, and we set this calendar date to March 1st and the end time of March 31st, you can see that I had 57 sales. Now the way you look at this is if it says earning curator, then that means I probably had 20% of whatever that sold for. Sometimes there's other percentages. Sometimes I'll do a little editing or color correction or stabilization, but most of the time it's from adding the title, keywords, and editorial lines, if it's an editorial. And then you'll see some where it says earning, for example, this one, and that means I own it 100%. At least that's what it means most of the time. So here's some statistics for you. Out of 57 sales, 18 of them were mine. 18 of them are 100% mine, such as this one, which is a grid computer simulation. I don't even know what this is. Is it a communications network or computer? I don't know. I just made it on, I made this on After Effects, using a particle simulator and some other plugins, not plugins, but stuff that comes in. I didn't use any plugins for this. But at any rate, I've sold that a number of times, and that's a rare sale. That really, if you add up how much time it took me to make that, was probably just fun because I learned how to do it. So anyway, there were 57 sales in the course of the month of March. And of those 57, 18 of them are mine. 39 of them, I got 20% of it because I did the titles and keywords. Out of the 18 that I sold that were mine, 200 the totals for those 18 sales was $256.40. For the keywords, the 39 shared clips that were sold, I earned $226. So my keywording sideline is starting to catch up to what I'm making selling my own clips, and that should surpass my own here pretty soon. If you average out what I made, it's $14.24 per clip that I own 100% of, and $5.81 for clips that I sold where I did the curation. The reason that is getting lower. And the reason in that there's micro sales nowadays. People who own, for example, this one only sold for $8. It's not a very good example. There's even lower ones. This one sold for $2.06 as an example. And I think I even have one here where it's $1.98 or something. So you're getting these micro sales nowadays for people who own or who have purchased some type of membership. I don't know if that's going to hurt the business or help it in the long run. There are times when I have seen that help. And I'll give you an example right here. This is my biggest moneymaker. Was right here, $57.75. And look, I'm only the curator. That's 20%. That means the person who filmed this, if the profit that came back from one sale on this was close to $300. You look at it and you say, why would this clip get so much money? It's filmed well, aerial shot of a woman riding a horse in the countryside. Well, what probably happened is you see it sold twice. A lot of times I think the people will buy clips and kind of make a scene for a commercial or a show that they want to use. And then they end up deciding, you know what, why don't we just use this clip instead of going out and trying to refilm it? So they buy it, then they decide they need a license to use it in a commercial or on a television show or in a movie. And so they buy a license. The money that you get from this isn't really from the sale, it's from the license, it's from the usage license. So what that means is this clip is probably going to be used in some larger production. And that's what you get the big money for. Not because it's better quality or higher resolution or anything like that. It's because of the intended use. So this drove my curation average way up, and some of these micro sales drove my my clips, the average of those down. And that's all that means. What are some other things that I've noticed? Well, I counted up all these clips and I put them into different categories. Sometimes clips are in more than one category. But that'll be evident to you. So out of the 57 clips, 21 of them are aerial. That's the highest category, really, except for maybe people. There are, if you have clips that have people in them, like this cute kid at school in a makeshift school in the Amazon outback, the Amazon rainforest, adorable kids. Clips with kids in them, clips with people in them, there were 25 clips. Aerial clips, 21. Editorial, 14. Nature shots, 16. Concept, 6. What do I mean by concept shot? Here's a very good example. This is a shot of a guy pulling off his wedding ring and dropping it on a reflective surface. What's the concept here? Divorce, breakup, heartbreak, separation. This is planned and it's a concept. So I counted up the ones that were planned conceptual shoots where you say, hey, I've got an idea, let's do this. Editorials, of course, are clips like the one I just showed you of the child at the school. And I have more of them. Here's some kids at a refugee camp in Iraq going to school. And here's some kids down in Basra, Iraq. So I go to Iraq now and then. I work for a church that does a lot of humanitarian work. And I build schools and hospitals. I should say not so much that I build them, more that I fund the projects for them. And then I go down and check on the projects. So in the course of doing that, sometimes I'll get some editorial clips. Editorial clips can be other things too. Here's some people in Brazil, some indigenous people who are protesting some government actions on their native lands. all of that type of thing is editorial. Some of these clips are both. You know, for example, I'll say people, clips with people in them, and editorial clips. Well, this is both. So don't add up those numbers and say make any conclusions based on that. Just understand that clips with people in them are always going to sell well, and if those people have different ethnicities, you're going to even do better. Something one of the people I do curation for lives in Nigeria, and he gives these type of shots all the time. Just about every single thing he films sells. Why? Because it's unique. Content is king. There's not a lot of people who have access to these rural villages in Africa, but he does, in West Africa. He does have access to them, and he's got a drone, and so he can go down there and fly. And, you know, if you looked up the name of some town in West Africa, he's going to be the only one that has content for that, and content is king. So there's one that he filmed that is phenomenal. Let's see if I can find it. It's this contest they have every year in Nigeria where people run out, they shoot a gun, and you run out and you jump in the river, and whoever catches the biggest fish that day with their hands wins. Here it is. It's just phenomenal. Look at that. Thousands of people jumping in this river. He's got ones that are even better than this, where they're all charging when the gun goes off, and they all charge for the river and jump in to try to get the biggest fish. You get $1 million or something like that. Anyway, this type of content, you know, is just really hard to come by. A lot of these are just filmed on the spot. You know, you take out your camera. For example, this is my grandkids roasting marshmallows in the backyard, and I just pulled out a camera and filmed them. You know what is missing here? Time lapses. Time lapses are a big thing of what I do and what I curate. And honestly, it's a disappointing month. Even though the totals are high, I sold one time lapse, and it was an aerial one right here, a hyperlapse, night to day. This is an experimental thing I tried. I read somewhere that you cannot do a hyperlapse that goes night to day, and so I figured out how to do it. Of course, it's not really genuine. I took 2 clips and merged them together to make it look like a night to day transition. But at any rate, that's the only time-lapse / hyperlapse I sold, and that is very disappointing because I just love doing them. They're the kind of things that I would do whether they sell or not. So there you have it. That's what sold in the month of March. 57 clips, $483. That's a pretty good month. Please consider putting a like, a comment, and subscribing, especially if you want to do stock video. If you want to do a stock video creator, come along with me and learn as I learn. Have a good day.